All right, and we're COMP1011, and this is lesson 4, or week 4, lesson 4, part 2. And we're going to start doing some GUI stuff today, but the first thing we're going to do is create a new project. So we're going to say new Java project, right? And the new Java project we're going to call, it's going to be COMP1011, and it's going to be, of course, lesson 4, right? Lesson 4. And we're going to cover, like I said to you before, we're going to cover a little bit of GUI if we can get to it. See how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to just close off some of these older files we were working on. And we talked about abstract classes last week. What I may do again, just to let you know, is even though we've covered abstract classes and properties and so on, I may circle back with you and talk about the same things again. All right? Like especially when it comes to getters and setters, because I really didn't push those on you this week at all. Or when we talked about properties and so on. And again, we talked about the difference between properties and instance variables. Instance variables are just variables, right? Properties are when we actually have getters and setters, access methods, if you will, right? Okay. So here we are with a lesson 4, and again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new class, a main class. We're going to take away the constructors from the superclass because that was what I had clicked on before. I do need this public static void main because that's our main class. And you know what? Let's generate a few comments as well. Okay. The name of my first class, of course, I'm going to call it. Let's just call it project again. You can call it program. Let's say actually, well, let's call it program for this time. Program. And then, again, I'm using the default package up here. I'm not going to change the default package. Again, this would be the folder that we would be looking in or for a library. And then I'll click Finish. Here it is. So my class, my main class is program. I've got a bit of default comments that I'm going to kill right now. I don't need all this stuff. And I'm going to put my name in there as the author, Tom. And now I want to connect it to GitHub. Now this is the trick when we do GitHub. First, I need to get a GitHub repo going, right? So I go to GitHub and I create a new repository, and I'm going to call this COMP1011, and then we'll call it lesson 4, right? And I'm going to click and create repository. Again, now I take this, I copy it, and then from here I go back into COMP1011. Right? And if you notice, I have to go into the source or whatever. It doesn't really matter. If I go here, I can go to share. I can't go to share project. I have to go to the project level, which is this here, the name. I go to team. Now share project isn't grayed out anymore, right? So again, let me take a look at that again. So if I'm here, if I'm on the source or here inside the default package, if I go to team, I can't. It's grayed out. Even the class. Grayed out, right? But if I go to here and click team, I can share the project now. Now it's going to ask me what I want to use. I'm going to use Git. I'm going to click next, right? And then it says create repository, right? Right now it looks like the repository that I'm using. Here's my project, lesson 4, and I can use this user create repository in parent folder or project. If I click that, right, it's going to create a new repository. So here's my repository. In my workspace, it's going to be COMP1011 lesson 4, right? So I can do that. I can say create repository. Okay, now that I've done that, it's a new repository for COMP1011 lesson 4. It's not shared with COMP1011 lesson 3. Okay? If I click finish, right, then if you notice, it's a different number, and it says right away, it says no head. Why does it say no head? Who remembers? I haven't done a commit. It'll always say no head because that means there's not an initial commit. I haven't done an initial commit yet. So I'm going to right click on here. I'm going to go to team and I'm going to go to commit. This is my first commit that I'm going to make. And it says, hey, you want to modify Java. Do you want to save it? And I'll say yes. I didn't save my files. Then I can put my commit message in here and I'm going to say initial commit. Right? I want to include all these files. Right? So I'm going to click this little check mark. And then I'm going to commit and push. Right? Commit and push. If I commit and push, it's going to ask me what? it's going to ask me where the hell am I pushing to. And if you notice, it found me, COMP1011, lesson 4 Git, because it knows GitHub is my provider. It's kind of gotten the link from GitHub, actually, lesson 4. I didn't copy and paste anything here, right? Next, I click next, and then I click next again, and then finish. And then what it does, it connects me to GitHub. It says, hey, I got a new branch for the master, and I press OK. If I go back to GitHub now and refresh, I should only have the files here for my class, which is called project, right? So if I look at my source and I go to program.java, this is the only stuff I've got in here right now. Okay, so this is where I'm at. And this is where we're going to do our GUI stuff today. Okay, again, we're going to go very slow, and we're going to go slide by slide because, again, there's 200 plus slides to go through. I don't want to go through anything. There's some new concepts we're going to go through that we haven't seen before. We're doing Java, but we're doing Java for the first time with a GUI, right? Let's take a look. So here I'm pulling up my slides, and I'm going to go to lesson 4. And if you want to follow along with me, I have the entire lesson, chapter 12, up on Blackboard. So if you don't want to watch in front of me, like here on the board, and you're not good at that, it's up on Blackboard, so you can follow along on Blackboard as well. It's a long, big, massive, file here. Actually, it's like 17 megs. This thing.
What? 17 what?
17 megs. This PowerPoint.
Whoa.
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. So again, we're going to learn how to use the Nimbus look and feel. What the hell is that? What is Nimbus? We're going to build GUIs and handle events generated by user interactions with GUIs in this chapter, right? And we understand the packages containing GUI components, event handling classes, and interfaces. Now remember, if you don't know things like classes, interfaces, and inheritance, you will not do well in this section because you need to know. And as we move towards more and more towards Android, you will need to know more. You have to use classes and inheritance more and more, right? Especially with methods and everything else we're going to get into. So this is going to really sharpen your skills, but you need to really work on this hard. This is the next piece that's a little harder than the last section we did. Okay, let's leave Layout Manager alone for now, and let's get into it. Okay, so again, graphic user interface, what is it? It's a pronounced GUI, and it's a user interface that extends really the what Java can do for us. Okay, so it's got a bunch of GUI components or controls that we can use. And what we do is, the user, what he does or she does is interacts, right, via the mouse and keyboard with a form of control like we do with normal stuff. Okay, that's pretty simple stuff. And they've actually got a really interesting example of a Swing Set 3 application, right, that you can actually take a look at here on this website. So let's take a look at it. I'll bring it up so we can see what it looks like. And of course, it does not work the way it's supposed to. But anyways, and that's okay. I don't care. So basically, this is where it shows you what it's supposed to show you is the title bar. But this is Java SE actually. That's what it's doing. That's incorrect. I thought I had another thing in there. I wonder if the link was replaced. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What this is it gives you the title bar. At the top contains the Windows title, and it looks like this. This is what the title bar would look like. You have a menu, a title bar, and all that stuff. And when we create a GUI for Java, right, we get additional functionality here, additional things we can use to drag and drop from one side to the other. So again, in order for us to make this go, right, for these GUI components, right, we use something called Swing. And what Swing has is, like they say here, a cross-platform look and feel known as Nimbus. And we've configured our systems, it says, to use Nimbus as the default look and feel, but really we haven't configured anything yet. We're going to configure our system soon. All right? So there's 3 ways to use it. We can set it as a default for all our Java applications that run on your computer, right? And we can set it as a look and feel when you launch an application, right? And the way we do the look and feel thing is we have what's called perspectives and Eclipse, okay? So what we need to do is we need to create a file, a text file. Look what it says here. To set Nimbus as the default for the Java applications, right? We create a text file that says swing.properties in the lib folder of both your JDK installation folder and your JRE installation folder. Now this would be inside your files, actually physically in your on your computer, right? Not inside Eclipse. This is inside, physically inside your machine, and it's going to be different according to different machines. So let's do that together. So if you look at your machine, you want to go at these default JDK, the JDK installation for your folder, or the JRE installation of your folder, and then place this code here, swing default. I'm just going to kind of populate this a little bit. com.sun.java swing plaf Nimbus look and feel, and it'll change the way your swing looks. Okay, if we're going to use Nimbus. For those people who want to make it even quicker, you can always say Eclipse, right? And if I go Nimbus look and feel, take a look, right? Nimbus look and feel from Oracle. How do I do that? This is what the Nimbus look and feel would look like, right? And then this is how we enable it. We say enabling the Nimbus look and feel at the following code, right, to the event dispatching thread before creating a graphical user interface. So here's our endpoint javax .swing.ui manager and so on, and then this. This is the first piece. Let's try that. I'm just going to grab it, right, and I'm going to put that. If I'm right, we have nothing installed here, and we're going to include stuff for Swing here in our program. So we're just going to go in here and then Control V, right? If it doesn't work, like for example, if I have issues, it's going to tell us what the problem is. It says, it might see that I have other issues. Now it says, look, it says syntax error or tokens, delete these tokens. Okay. How about we do it by hand? I love when things always work the best way possible. How about that? So we'll go import. Okay. And if you notice, it says take a look, javax dot, and if I go through, right, if you notice right here, swing, right, javax dot swing, and then dot UI manager dot star. So dot swing dot UI manager, and if you notice, hey, I don't have that javax dot swing UI manager. How come, right? Because we don't have that as part of our installation, right? And you won't have it either. If I can't do it, you can't do it. But we need to make this go. You have it? How come? How come? How come I don't have it?
This is UI manager dash javax.swing.
Oh man. Okay, let's see if I do have to do a UI, like capital. Here it is. Hey, maybe that's what it is. UI manager, and if you notice, it's there's got a bit of a dot star here, which means the entire library. That's what we're looking for. Now, if I do this, now I don't get an error anymore, right? Before, it says, and look, it gives you some fixes, some actual fixes that we want to do. It says, hey, do you want to remove this unused import? It's telling me this because when I include this import into my program, it includes a bunch of libraries that are with it. And if we don't use this thing properly, it's going to have an add load to our code, so to speak. Okay. Okay, so that's the first thing. So I'm going to save my code, right? And the other piece I need is this other. Now this is just a try-catch block to see if my look and feel and all that stuff is going to work, right? So this is the first piece I need to kind of put in there, right? Okay, so let's do this next piece. I'm just going to see if I can do a try-catch block, and I'm going to see if I can do it by just typing it. Now you guys have done try-catch blocks, yeah? So I'm going to type try, and I'm going to control space, and it doesn't give me anything. It should give me some completion, but let's put that in there. So that's the first thing. So a try, and then I'm going to have underneath the try, I want to have catch, right? So it does a catch block. So there's my try catch. And if you notice, it's starting to give me errors. And what it says, syntax error on tokens, it says class header expected instead of this thing, right? So I have to put this where? I have to put this somewhere inside of my main if I was going to do this try catch block, right? And that's why it's giving me issues. You can't put this thing outside of your class, right? You cannot. You can do an import outside of your class, but this has to be inside of your class. And this whole thing, right, is what you're doing is you're checking to see if Nimbus is available. Okay? But let's do the next piece. Specify Nimbus as the default look and feel for a particular application at the command line as follows, right? So Java, and then this command, and then permanently sets the default look and feel of Nimbus by adding the following line to the Java home lib swing properties file. And this Java home, wherever Java is, you've got to go to lib swing properties, remember just like we said before, and if this file doesn't exist, we need to create it. All right? So for me on the Mac, I have to say, hey, where does Java live? Where is Java? And this is what I would do for you too, installed on the Mac. Right? So what's the path to JDK on the Mac? And my stuff is going to say user libexec Java home. That's where mine is. Right? So I'm going to go into my console, and you're going to have to do something different on your machine to get this same use and feel. This is why I said we're going to start this today, because on every machine it's slightly different. And I'm going to go around and make sure you guys can do this properly. So I'm going to go cd/user/libexec, if I can get there, Java home, if I can do that. And of course there isn't anything like that. So let's see /user, and then let's go back out to the way back out for me. Okay, and then I go /user, and then I go to libexec if it's possible. Let's take another, so it's one word, libexec. And of course I can't get there because libexec is, there's nothing inside of there. So I need to go to my user. So for me, I'm going to use Finder to do that. And just bear with me while I do this. So it's a bit of setup, all right, but it's okay. I'm going to go to, and for the Mac people that we have here in the room, I'm going to go to my Macintosh HD, and if you notice, I'm at this level, this user level, right? But user just gives me this, which isn't really what I want. I have to get right back out there. So I can see at the actual a level higher than this. This has we got to go back even further than this. So it can't be here. It's got to be way out, back beyond this Mac HD. And you can do that by exposing your Mac stuff on your window, right? So my Tom's MacBook Pro is where I would go on the Mac. On the Windows machine, it's actually quite easier. Let me just go there and show you what it looks like on the Windows machine, because you guys have Windows machines anyway, so I don't want to waste your time. Okay, so let's just do this the first time. And once it's done, it's done. So I'm going to kick off my virtual machine. And it doesn't matter, this is the first time I'm doing this. Before I've been always working on the Mac, but on Windows it looks a little different, so I got to make sure it's correct for you guys as well. Did you figure it out?
No.
Yeah. You got to find Java home, and I know where it is, but the problem is on the Mac, you've got to have super user access. So you have to go sudo, and then you can get there that way. On the PC, it's not like that. It's actually easier. Have you guys tried it? Have you guys seen it? So Google, what I'd like you to try and do while I'm booting up my machine is Google to see where Java JRE or JDK exists on your machine. So say, where's Java JDK on PC?
No, it's I think in
Go to Program Files, and under Java, you might see it. Keep going in there, and if there's a home, you have to go to, like it says here, on the Mac, it's this, right? And this is where, maybe this will help us for us Mac guys, library Java, Java virtual machines. Right.
you go into JDK and then when you
But yours on the PC, you have to go to wherever your Java home is, /lib/swing properties. And if the file doesn't exist, you have to create it. Swing.properties. It's one file we create.
So I'm in Java. I have JDK 1.7.3.
Right, that's your home. And then in your lib file, do you have a lib file?
Yeah.
Right, inside there, you have to create a file, if it doesn't exist, called swing.properties. Swing.properties.
How to create it? How to create it?
Right click.
Okay. New.
New, and you go new text file.
It doesn't give me a new text file option. It just says new folder.
Lovely. Well, you can create it somewhere else and drag it up.
And then rename it?
It's probably, yeah, you know what it is? Probably because you're trying to do something on the machine, and you don't have access, super user access. I don't know. Can you do it at home? Can you command? Oh, you're doing it on yours, no problem. Okay. Okay, I'll do it with you. Here. Let's go. Here it is. So I'm here in. This is the great thing too, right? With us, I'm going to go to this PC, and I'm going to go to C, and it says a program files x86, right? If I'm not wrong. Java, right? My JRE is 1.8.020. Yours might be different. I'm using Java 1.8. Yours 1.7. If you have a laptop, it should be 1.8. It should try and download the latest version, because 1.8 gives you access to 1.7. It shouldn't be a problem for when we move into Android, but this is one of the things. So I have to go to lib, and inside my lib file, I have to create this new swing properties file. So if I look through here, right, I don't have a swing properties file. I'm going to have to right click. If I can right click in here somewhere.
New. Anywhere you right click, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But it's
right, new. Right, now if it gives me only folder, right, because that's what the reason why it's like that is because it's protected, this folder, right? So if I do it here in the background, if I go new text file, right, here's my text document, I can call this text file whatever I want. Like for example, like we have to create, it's got to say this swing properties. I just have to rename this thing swing properties, right? So here I am to this swing properties. So I should rename the whole file, and including the txt swing.properties. And it says, do you want to change it? I say, yeah, right? And this is what it looks like now. Now mine colors, it looks like brackets because I've got brackets installed. Yours may not color like this. It might not change an icon. It's not associated with anything for you. And then you just drag and drop it in here. Now if it does, it says, hey, you need to give permission for administrative rights because you need to have the administrative rights to do that. And I say, yes, go ahead. Okay, cool. Now that I have this swing properties, right, in my Java, right, I double click on it and I have to install inside here. I'm using brackets to do this, but it doesn't really matter. I have to install this other stuff, this swing.default layout. That's what the layout file is equal to javax.swing.plaf.nimbus look and feel. This.
if it's still a text file for me?
It shouldn't work. No, it can't work if it's still a text file.
Yeah, I didn't change the file format. It's still a text file.
What we change it to? TXT, right?
Okay, I'm just going to exit out of here. So I just did that already. So I'm just make sure that it's there. So if I double click, there it is. So I've got that. So if it's still a text file, again, all I did was this. Look, right click, new. I'll do the text file with you again. Text document. And then I click away, click back, and then highlight the text as well.
The thing is, on our computers, it doesn't say new document.txt. It just says new document.
Because it's not exposed for you, right? So the way you expose it, I'm not sure if you have access to do this with Control Panel for you. You have to go to Control Panel on your machine. Right, here's Control Panel, right? But you know what I'll do? I'll take this text file, put it on. I'll take the swing.properties file. I'll put it up on GitHub, right, and then just download it. Okay. So I'm here in Control Panel. That's all I did. So all I did was, because I have Windows 8, I went to Control Panel. I'm not sure if you have access to Control Panel on your machines in front of you. Yes. So then in here, what you want to do is you want to change the folder defaults. Here's your folder options. If you go to folder options, and if you go to view, it's the same thing on most machines, right? I show the full path in the title bar, and then there's another thing that says hidden files and folders. I show them. Now you don't have to, but the extensions, there's another place for the for extensions and stuff, and I show all that stuff too. So you have to show all that. If you don't show that, you won't see the extensions because by default they're hidden, right?
Hide extensions from known file type?
Correct.
So I have to uncheck that.
You have to uncheck. So this is where it says, here it says hide extensions from known file types. I uncheck that, and then you get your TXT. Okay, do you get that yet? So again, a bit of setup when we start off. That's the most important piece. Now, the great thing is, now that I have this file, this Swing properties file, right? I'm going to copy it and go. Let me see if I can copy it over to my Mac side. I'm not sure if it'll work because it's a virtual machine here. So close off Fireworks for a second. Let's see if I can do it. Yes, Swing.properties. So I can do the Swing.properties thing. I got it right now on my Mac side. Here it is, Swing properties. But now I've got to put this in the right place, and the way to find that, of course, is to go to the right place, right? Now, before, I'll tell you the truth, there was a way. I'm just going to go to Terminal, and maybe I'll put it in Desktop 3 for a second. Here's Terminal. There's a way where if I wanted to, I could do like a drag and drop, like one of these, right? And it actually gives you where the location of the file is. See? Swing properties. But that's not really what I want. I want to find this location here. This libexec is what they're telling us to go to. But there isn't anything in libexec on the Mac side, right? Because I want to find my Java installation. And libexec, if you notice what it says here, so again, I'll type in the same thing. Where is Java JDK installed on Mac?
Or just a path to JDK on Mac.
Yeah, but it tells you where. It doesn't matter. There's like a bunch of different ways. Yeah.
Library.
So library, internet. So this is only true for the JDK. The JRE is at blah blah blah. And let me see where the JDK is. So, but this is what I need. I need to get to the home for where this thing is installed. And if I don't do that, right, then I can't get there. So this library Java virtual machines, right, that's where it's supposed to be, right? So let's try that out in Finder, right? So I'm going to try this out in Finder. So library, what does it say? Library Java virtual machines. Sorry, library Java virtual machines. JDK 8. Contents, sure. That doesn't really give me what I want though, buddy. Lib. I'm looking for the same stuff, right? It's supposed to be under this lib section, but I don't want to misguide you, my one Mac guy that I have here, because home lib is where it says it should be, right? But I don't have any kind of properties file in here at all, and I'm not sure if it's going to make a difference if I go here in the Java file here. But let's take a risk. Why don't we? Shall we? So let me just go here and organize my files again. I'll throw this over here and go over to this screen and go across. And then if it's right, I'll copy this thing and I'll move it into my lib folder. And let's see if it's correct. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's got a Swing properties. If it's correct. Now let's see what the documentation says on our PowerPoint. Oh, you need to do both your JDK and your JRE folder. JDK and the JRE. So let's go to the Windows side and do it there. So where does this JRE file folder live? This is where the swing properties is in the JRE. But where's the JDK? Do I have it? First of all, that's the question for you. I do. I have it on the other side. I have it on the program file side. Swing property, sound property. See how easy it is on Windows? Done. Hold on a second. That's the JRE. Here's the JDK. Lib. And paste.
Do we have to write anything in Swing file?
Yeah, the Swing file has to have this stuff on the PowerPoint. So if you go to the PowerPoint, it has to have swing.defaultLaf equals javax.swing.plaf.nimbus.nimbus look and feel. That file, that line is right in this PowerPoint. Yeah, I'll make it smaller for you guys to see it, so you guys can see the. And maybe I can do it in one line. Maybe not. No. Did you get it done?
I just took one of the properties files, cleared it out, and then renamed it.
No.
No, I mean like I copied it.
Oh, copied it. Okay, okay. You don't kill it.
I didn't take it and just rename it, but
I'll just use this one.
So it says, yeah, so both the nested JRE folders, lib folder. So let me just, this goes. We did that in this file. So where does, again, going back to Java, what is the path again? User bin Java, library Java, Java virtual machine is the JDK. But that doesn't tell me anything, buddy. Hold on. There's the JDK, but where's the JRE? So it has to be here and the JRE. And I think
JRE is inside the JDK.
No, I don't think so.
There's
Tell
a
me.
JRE file inside the JDK.
Okay, hold on a second.
And,
Oh, here.
JRE folder.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
What if we try bin?
What was that?
Bin. There is a bin folder.
Oh, bin. Yeah, I don't think that would work though.
There are lots of those kind of files.
Paste. No, it tells you the specific place, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If it doesn't tell you that, then here it is, Swing properties. Oh, it's wrong place. It's got to be. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this. And the reason why it's telling me to authenticate is because I'm messing up the default values for Java. There it is, Swing properties. Okay, so it looks like I've configured my system correctly on both sides. on both the Windows side and everything else. Let's see if it's true though, because we have to test it to make sure it's right. Right? Okay. Let me just go to this slide here to make sure we're good. I'm just going to go, so again, if I want to do it on an application by application basis, you can place the following command line argument after the Java command and before the application's name when you run the application. But we're not going to do that. We're going to make it so it's a default look and feel, right? Okay, so there's three ways to do it. We can do the default, which is what we said for all Java applications that run on your computer, which is what we did. We can set it as a look and feel when you launch an application by passing a command line, and you can set it look and feel programmatically in your application. Let's do the other one as well, right? So the third one is this way. So here's javax swing, and then it says import, right? javax swing. Let's do this. And let's see if that works. So I'm going to do the same thing on my side. I'm going to go to Eclipse. Now, I'm going to make sure, just because we're using Eclipse, I'm going to make one more try. So Nimbus, look and feel, Eclipse, just to make sure that I'm good. I don't want to have any problems. Oh, window preferences, window builder, swing, look and feel. Okay, that's the way we do it. So we go to window. Sorry, on mine would be preferences. Java. Or here's window build. So window builder. Swing, look and feel. There it is. And under my JRE, I see that there's Nimbus is there. I also have Metal, CD, Motif, and Mac OS X. Those are the different look and feels I have that I can choose from. Apply chosen look and feel in main method. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that. Now it's showing all the look and feels for the JRE, like the Nimbus, right? And let's start typing in the other stuff. So UI Manager is definitely there. That's what I'm saying. See, when we talk about this stuff and I tell you we're going to start the GUI stuff because there's a little bit of setup in the beginning when we first start this off. And then afterwards it'll be no problem. It'll be like, we've done it forever. Okay, so let's try this program here. It's in your PowerPoint. Import javax.swing. We'll say this J option pane. So we'll replace this line of code here, right, with the J option pane. Right? That's so the first thing we're going to do. We're importing that library. Sorry, just want to make sure I swing back and forth here. No pun intended. And then make sure that this is correct. Yeah, but we don't have that. We don't have a. And if I run it, I think it should come up automatically, right? Let me just take a look. So if I go, once I do J option pane and I do this, it should come up right away, right? So let's see how it goes, because really it's that simple. Like Java is the simplest way to do this kind of stuff when it comes to thing. And I think we have a perspective here too. Let me take a look. I just want to make sure I don't mislead you again, because this is a different way of doing things. See, and I had it. If I run this thing, run as Java application, program.java, press OK. Right, we got no output, and then one of these little windows here is you're going to get a different perspective. Here it is. Okay, so you should get the same thing too. If you see this little library on the left-hand side, right? If I go swing, right, if you notice, I have all these things here. I have JFrame, JPanel, JDialog, JApplet, all this kind of stuff here, right? If I go application window, right, I can create a new application window that I can tie it into my code, right, automatically. And it actually does it all for you here, right? That's for the application window. But we're not doing that. We're doing this J option pane. That's where we're doing it automatically. And if you notice what it says here, it says I can suppress the programs. I can organize my imports if I want to as an option. But let's go back to this PowerPoint. I want to make sure it's because we can do it programmatically and we can do it automatically. It'll add it into the program through Eclipse's refactoring. That's what that window was. Because you can do two ways, right? Depending on what you want to do it. JOption pane.show input dialog, enter first integer. Okay. So let's do that right here in this. So string first number equals JOption pane dot, and what was it again? Show input dialog. Show input dialog, and then enter first integer. And then string, I think it's second number if I'm not wrong, equals JOption pane dot show input dialog. Come on. Code hinting. And then enter second integer. And a couple of integers to convert into number 1 and in number 2. We use integer.parseInt first number and second number because we want to convert it. Why do we do that? Int number 1. Right? Why do we need to convert it, guys? What's the reason? I am bringing it in as a string. Thank you. Because every time when we do an enter and any kind of programming we do, for example, as when we do things like Android programming, and we pull things in from an input box, it's always a text. It's always string we're putting in. So if we want to convert it to number, we need to do this first. Okay, so just going with the example on the book right now. And then int sum is equal to number 1 plus number 2. Int sum is equal to number 1 plus number 2. Oops. Right? And then what we want to do is JOption pane.show message dialog, this stuff here. Okay, so let's do that. That's the next line. So JOption pane.show message, oops, so fast, show message dialog. And the first component is a null. And the message is going to be the sum is plus sum. This is the string message. The sum is, we're going to concatenate plus sum, comma, and the sum of two integers. That's weird that they do a comma. That's wrong. Plus, I think it should be probably like this. Sum of two integers. And I'm probably using a different signature, sorry. That's what the problem is here. There's two different signatures here for JOption pane. Let me just go back to that again. For this show message dialog. Three. And it is, this one has components and then message. That's the first one I chose, which is incorrect. And then I chose, you can choose this one, component, object message, string title, and then the type, which might be the one that I want. It's exactly what it is. Does it come up? You tried it out?
Yeah, it works.
all it does is it programmatically generates that. That's what it does. I'm doing this on the Mac side, by the way, so if I can do it, you can do it. Sum of two integers. Sorry. I'm just replacing, that's the title, and then the message type is JOption pane plain message. Yeah. What is it again? Okay, JOption pane. Option pane dot plain message. And I'll get rid of this. I'll open this up for you to see it better. And I'll scrunch this up because I don't need this much. Okay, so there's the sum. And so the sum is the sum, and this is the title, sum of two integers. I can get rid of this little extra space. And then JOption pane plain message is the sum, the way it's going to be displayed. So I'm going to save this. And if I run it, then it should display my first integer, which is like 10. And I press OK. My second integer is 20. I press OK. And then the sum is 30. So again, very minor GUI programming right now. We did it programmatically, okay? But the idea here, and it was painful, all right? It was painful for me to get this done for you guys, right? But the reason why is because Java, and you'll see the same thing with when we do Android. When we start doing Android, any kind of GUI programming, there's two pieces to the GUI programming. We can do it many different ways. One, we can do it programmatically. Two, a drag and drop interface, which we can create. And there's ways of doing that with Window Builder. If you notice in Eclipse, I have a little thing here, like I showed you before. Here's my Java project, and next to my Eclipse, there's a little thing for Swing where I can ask for this to be done, a JFrame as an example, and I can design it by hand, right? And it actually adds additional components into your program or into your source files. That's all it does. So here's my default package, and into my default package, you'll add additional components that show me that's almost like that represents the graphic user interface item that I want to put in. Okay, so that's one piece. I know it's painful, but we wanted to get that done. So this is what it would look like, just like it shows. So we've got our first number, our second number, and our third number, and these little. And if you notice, this is we were successful. If you got these, the look and feel that this is, if it looks like this, then we got our Nimbus look and feel. Did it look like this for you?
Yeah.
No?
What? I thought it was. So basically, Nimbus is the curve, right?
This kind of stuff here, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So again, this JOption pane, right? When we do our JOption pane, is a static input method. All right. It shows the show input dialog, right? For the JOption pane, what it does is it displays this little input dialog we just saw. That's what it is, right? And then again, when we click OK and cancel, it's automatic for us. Like we don't have to do a lot of work here, right? If you go back to what it does, like for example, if I go back to my actual app that we just built, right? This JOption pane, there's two of them that come up. The first one, right, with this show input dialog, it pumps up this dialog box, right? Kind of shows us. What if I was to press cancel on this thing when we run it? So if I run this thing, right, and I've got OK and cancel. If I cancel and I cancel again, right, I get an error, right? Why? Because we're not doing any kind of we don't have it in a try-catch block. We're not sitting there going like, if cancel, then don't ask the next question. You only ask the next question if the first one has been answered. So we have no validation right now for our first question. Like this question here for our string, right? There's no validation for it whatsoever, right? We can ask it, and if we put cancel, it'll error out. Okay? And the same thing goes to the second one because it automatically calculates this stuff. So we should really, when it returns a negative number or something that's incorrect, we don't want it to crash our code. Now, if you go back to the PowerPoint, it tells you that. It says The user types characters in the text field and then clicks OK or presses the Enter key, right? Clicking OK dismisses or hides the dialog, and you can only input string. If you press cancel though, right, and this is the bad thing, it dismisses the dialog and doesn't give you any input, right? So your input is negative, right? So let's try and see what we get. If I output, I'm going to just do an output to the console because we're going to do some testing here. This is part of testing. I'm going to do a system.out.println. If I can do this properly. Right, here's our first result, println. And I want to println this first number, right? So this is part of our testing. Okay, here's our first number that we're printing out. And let's see what I get when I try this again. So I'm going to run it. I'm going to run the program. And this time, take a look at my console when I enter a message. So I'm going to say, cancel. What do I get? No, right? Even if I press OK the second time, if this thing is empty, right? If it's null, right? Then I should try and get the user to either two things. If it's null, I stop execution of the code, right? How do you stop execution of the code in Java?
Break.
Anyone know?
Is it break?
Break doesn't really execute, doesn't stop execution.
Oh, system.exit.
Thank you. So let's do a little if statement there. So we say if first num, right, little bit of thing is not equal to. Let's see if can we do this. Can we do not equal to null? Is that possible? If it's not equal to null, then we want to do the second thing, right? If it's equal to null, so we get it's a mistake. We want it to come in. We want to exit if it's equal to null, right? But if it's not equal to null at any time, we want to go to the next question, right? So here's if it's not equal to null, then let's do a couple of things here. Let's do the system.out.println here, right? And then we'll make our code block underneath it, and then we'll ask the second question, right? Now this is one way to definitely do it, right? We can do this, but we're only covering one question here, right? We can ask our second question if it's not equal to null, all right? Let's try just this and see what happens. So I'm gonna run it. It says errors exist in required projects. Okay.
This isn't the second number.
My second number, right, doesn't exist because it's inside of a conditional statement. So it won't be executed unless we do it. So we need to declare it up here, which is the right thing to do. The correct path, like the book is just showing us a short form, right? But the correct thing is to say, do all their declarations right up here, right? First number, right? And then string second number. That's our first thing we should be doing. And now we don't have to declare this again because we've already declared them, and they're both kind of like global variables right now. Okay, that's cool. Now that should solve our issue, right? When it comes to that, I'm going to run it again. Okay, errors exist. Where are my errors now? Second number still seems to be unavailable. Oh, I got to initialize the variable, right? Because if I don't initialize these variables, and how do I initialize them? Well, I got to make them equal to at least null, or initialize them like this, right? At least I've got to do this. So if I don't initialize them, then we don't know what their initial value is. Right, so that's required. Now we initialize them here. When we put them here and say string first number is equal, that's an initialization. That's why it's not giving us an error here with this first one. Right? Let's try this again. Okay, cool. I'm going to say cancel. Right? I'm going to say cancel. And now I get another error. It says, first let's see what I get. I get a null, and it says exception in thread main. Right? Because I'm setting it to null. Right? And then I'm saying, if it's this, go to this, and there's no else. Right? If it is, if it's not null, if it is null, then I want to do a system.exit. Right? With no status. I don't have to give status if I want, correct? if I go, I can kind of show null in my status, right? Or if I'm not wrong, let's see if I can fix this thing. Change to wait. Okay, we'll make it a 0. Okay. Make sense? Let's try that again. So I run it, cancel, and it exits my program. So now it doesn't give me that issue anymore. Right? So let's run that again. I'll show you what I did. So I ran it, right? We're here. I cancel, and I'm enter. But now I get another issue. So I got to do that whole string thing again for my next one, for my second number. Right? What should I really be doing here, guys? I should check both, but how do I check both? How do I do, I can do it in a try-catch block, right? So if any one of those error out or become null, right? If I get an error, I catch the error. I'm looking for a specific type of error, and if I do, I want to exit. So I'm not doing it now. I don't have to check each condition. If I check each condition, there's a couple ways I could do this. I could say, okay, cool. If it's not equal to null, then proceed. Otherwise, exit. Right? I could do it this way, right? Or I could do it in a try-catch block. Okay. Let's try this again. Let me try and frame the try-catch blocks. I'm going to say try. I'm going to control space, right? And if you notice, it says it gives me an example of what the try-catch block looks like, right? With control space on the Mac. I think it's the same on the PC, right? And then if I click this, the try-catch block, double-click, it actually inserts it for me. So this is what the try-catch block works like. I've got an exception, right? And the exception is going to come here. So if any errors come through in this try-catch block, then I can output my, when I try to do this, that's what the try piece is. And if it fails, well, then I generate an exception. Remember what it said on this little thing up here when I first looked at Nimbus look and feel. It gave me a try-catch block, and it said, hey, try, and then try and see if I've got this Windows look and feel happening. And then if Nimbus is not available, I can set another GUI look and feel. But this try-catch block is the same kind of thing that we're doing here with our stuff in here. But what we want to do is take this, so let's get rid of this if first number and second number stuff. Right? So we'll get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. All this stuff. We don't even need to exit. Right? Because, I'm just to be safe, I'm going to take this system.out.println. I'm going to put it after this statement right here. All I'm doing is formatting my text right now, so bear with me while I do this kind of thing. Second number, right? There it is. So I've got this whole thing. And now all this stuff, I'm going to take it, right? So I'm going to cut, and inside the try-catch block, I'm going to paste. What else do I got to put in there? Do I have to put this int number 1, number 2? I should, right? Yep. Because I can't put this int number 1, number 2 outside the try-catch block, because if I do, right, I'm going to have a big issue, right? It's going to try and calculate something that doesn't exist. You can't add two nulls together. So this is wrong as well. And the same thing goes with this other show message dialog. So in fact, all of this has to be also cut and paste into the try-catch block. Let's try that. So I'm going to just cut and paste. So cut, and now I'm in here, and paste, right? And then I'll save. If I leave this exception open, like for example, the E, this E here is an exception. So if I want to output the exception, I can do that by going system.out.println, and then inside here I can just type the E, right? I want to output my E, my exception, to the console to show what we got, right? Okay, let's try that out. I'm going to save everything and run it. Okay, and then in the beginning I'll just do the numbers, right? So I'll say like 10. And then I'll go 20, and if you notice on the command line, I'm getting the entry when I'm entering in, right? And then my sum is 30, and I press OK, and I don't have anything else. My execution is over, right? And if you notice, my Java is still running, right? And there it's gone. Okay, good. Now, let's try it with an error. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, and now I'm going to run in, and I'll do a non-number. I'll do A, and I'll do B, right? And then it says A and B, Java lang, number format exception for input string A. So it's not allowing it. That's my exception that I'm catching, right? Because I'm outputting it right here. I'm deciding to output it. If I don't, it's just going to exit, right? I can say maybe a console message, right? Console, system.out.console, the print line, and something like, incorrect values entered. Now I did that here, right? Incorrect values entered, right? But if you notice, I've got this other option to use this J option pane, because we did this other thing here. Why don't I just do, if I'm doing a graphic interface, why don't I just start doing it so I put this J option pane in here as well? So let's try that. So let's go, instead of this incorrect values entered, I like that, but we'll start typing this J option pane. So go J option pane dot show message dialog, right? And we'll do the first one, this one here, right? And the first message is going to be, incorrect values entered. Oh, sorry, I put null, and the second part is the message. Oh. Null, incorrect values entered. So it'll only appear if one of the values up here is incorrect with my J option pane. Okay, and I'll run this now. So let's try and do a cancel, and we do a cancel, and then incorrect values entered, right? Because I've kind of put up a message, and if you notice, I still print out the number format exception in the console. Null, null, and null. Is there another kind of show message dialog, or some kind of dialog we can do instead of a show message dialog, right? It's an error, right? So maybe that's a better one to use, more contextual than, and if I look through here, if I go show, and then there's a confirm dialog, which is I don't want to use, an internal confirm dialog, right? A message dialog, and an option dialog. So there's different other kinds of dialogs, if you notice in the code hinting that it gives us, right, for J option pane. If I go show. Now, error message is the type of message I can show here. Because see how this one is a different signature, where I go null, the sum is, which is the message, and then I've got this, I can use this signature instead of the one I have here to show an error message instead of a plain message, right? So let's try that signature instead. So I'm using a second type of signature from my show message dialog, just like we did up here, right? So let's do that one instead. I'll just start typing and then copy and paste after. Show message dialog, and if you notice, it's this one, this signature here, right? And the signature has a component, so null, which we don't need that. The message, which I'm just going to grab and drag, copy and paste. I know you guys are killing right now, right? And then maybe the title should be like error, entry error, right? Entry error. And then the message type, right? Message type, I'm going to go J option pane dot, and then I'm going to start typing error for error message. That's the type of message that it is. Right, and I'll get rid of this. I don't need this one. I only need one of the signatures, not both. So let's try that now. Let's run it and see what happens now. So I run it, I go cancel, and then all of a sudden, boom, I got this really different symbol up here. Take a look, guys. I've got the symbol that says, hey, it's an error. Right? And then I also have my title bar here has entry error and incorrect values entered. Do you guys get that? And I use that by changing the switch value here on the end, error message. Are we good to go? So again, I think I'd like to pause it there, right? Because again, I want to go really slow with this GUI stuff. And like I said, the weather is really coming down already. I can see it outside for everybody, right? Roads are going to be pretty vicious. So instead of us having a problem, I'm just going to make sure that we're good. I wonder if even tonight's class is going to happen because of it. But up here, it's not so bad. In Toronto, it's what I'm getting is it's pretty darn bad, right? So we're going to pause here, and if I have to, we'll continue this next week or the week after. Because next week, again, I want to do a short quiz just to remind you guys about this stuff. The people that are online, they'll have other options. And if you guys, for example, by the way, if you ever miss a quiz, not an exam. Like let's say, for example, you can't make it, right? Or let's talk about the exam too. You can't make it for the exam. There's a big issue. You got a legitimate problem. Let me know ahead of time, right? Tell me ahead of time, and I'll make arrangements for you guys to do it in the testing center, right? No issues.
Thank you. Because
all right, so
last time we missed quizzes with Andrew, like for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Should be like that's it. That's your score.
Well,
We'll deal with it.
Okay, I can't speak about Andrew, right? I can only speak about me, Tom, right? So the only thing I can tell you is this, right? I cannot. It would be very unprofessional, right? So, but however, what I can tell you is I'm willing to work with you guys, okay? It's not about, like I said, it's not just about marks for me. It's about, can you take away what you need, all the skills you need from my courses with me, right? So you're successful in the next set of courses. If you come out of here and then you go to another course after you leave me and you go, Tom didn't teach me anything, right? I got a problem with that, right? I would have a real issue, right? But if you leave here and you get, okay, you get a pretty good mark, 85 or 80 or whatever, and you know some stuff, right? I'm happy. My mission is accomplished, right? I'm good to go. And if really your marks are going to be a reflection of all the work that you put into things. Like if you put work into what you're doing, these little assignments that I'm giving you, although they're kind of like Mickey Mouse right now, that's what they are. Assignment 1. Assignment 2 is a little bit more challenging. Assignment 2, if you can figure out the code for that, for swinging things around, right, to pick your superhero powers, that's more challenging. And remember, now we're doing GUI. Now I got lots of fun for you guys coming up. What am I going to do with GUI, guys? I'm going to make you guys do stuff, random numbers, and develop things with GUI. Eventually, we might be able to get into some stuff with, before we get into Android, where you can do some basic applications with Java. You should know Swing before you leave my class, a little bit of it, right? And then as we go into Android, you'll have a little bit of a taste of Android to understand how to program the interface. But you've done Swing. When you do Android, you're going to realize it's very similar. There's just a few extra nuances. You're going to have a whole other set of files and folders to do, right? When compared to what we have here. Any other questions as we move forward?
Should we just commit and push this?
I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do my side. I'm going to commit and push my side. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go to team. I'm going to go to commit, and I'm going to say added first swing or created first swing program. We'll say GUI program. Okay, and then I'm going to say commit and push, and that'll have everything up there. So if you want to follow me and see what I've done, like I made it. It's kind of messy, but at least it gives you all the code that I put up that and kind of to follow what I do, right? Now the other configuration for Nimbus, meh, is it important? Even if you didn't do Nimbus, you couldn't get it to go, right? Maybe you're a Mac user like I am, and you couldn't find the proper library, the proper locations, or you couldn't follow what I was doing, or you couldn't do it, you couldn't install it. You're still going to get a GUI. Nimbus just gives you a nicer look and feel. That's all it is. And there's different ones. Like I said, there's Nimbus, there's Metal, there's all these other ones that are part of Eclipse and the JRE. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to be departing early for today. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.